Donald J. Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, two men whose names have become synonymous with political disruption and nationalist resurgence, stand on the precipice of rewriting not only the future of their nations but also the geopolitical order of the 21st century. As the former and potentially future President of the United States and the longest-serving Prime Minister of Israel, their return to power could spark a decisive shift in global affairs. One built not on the quiet backchannels of traditional diplomacy but on bold declarations, strategic realignments, and an unflinching belief in strength through sovereignty. Their alliance, forged during Trump's first term and strengthened through a shared worldview, already broke the mold of conventional politics. Together, they upended decades of American foreign policy by recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital, a move previous presidents avoided for fear of inflaming tensions. They relocated the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, a move hailed by some as fulfilling biblical prophecy and condemned by others as a reckless provocation. But that was only the beginning. Through the Abraham Accords, Trump and Netanyahu achieved what many believed impossible: the normalization of diplomatic relations between Israel and key Arab states, including the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Morocco, and Sudan, nations that for decades refused recognition without a solution for the Palestinians. By bypassing the Palestinian Authority and reframing peace through economic and strategic incentives, they redefined what Middle East peace could mean in the 21st century. Yet this maneuver also solidified a new paradigm, one that prioritized containment of Iran, alignment with Sunni monarchies, and a rejection of the two-state dogma that dominated peace talks since Oslo. Netanyahu, who has always seen Iran as Israel's existential threat, found in Trump a willing partner in confrontation. Under their leadership, the United States exited the Iran nuclear deal, reimposed crippling sanctions, and gave Israel tacit freedom to strike Iranian proxies and facilities without fear of American backlash. For their critics, this amounted to inflaming regional tensions and abandoning diplomacy. For their supporters, it was a long overdue course correction. Now, as the world watches closely and Trump emerges as the Republican frontrunner for 2024, Netanyahu remains firmly in power, despite facing legal battles and widespread domestic protests over judicial reforms many view as anti-democratic. If both men remain politically viable, 2025 could usher in an even more radical phase of their partnership, one with potentially explosive consequences. There is widespread speculation that a Trump-Netanyahu tandem could greenlight or support direct military action against Iran's nuclear program, especially if diplomatic efforts continue to stall and intelligence suggests a breakout capability. Such a strike could ignite a regional war, drawing in Hezbollah, Hamas, Gulf states, and even U.S. military assets. But the two leaders may be willing to take that gamble, believing that a future nuclear Iran poses a greater long-term threat than the short-term risks of escalation. Beyond Iran, there is growing chatter about Saudi Arabia potentially joining the Abraham Accords under a Trump administration, especially if concessions, like security guarantees or civil nuclear support, are on the table. Normalization between Israel and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia would be a tectonic shift, symbolically ending the Arab-Israeli conflict for much of the Sunni world and opening the floodgates to regional economic integration. But it could also formalize the sidelining of Palestinian statehood, creating lasting resentment among Arab populations and potentially inflaming Islamist extremism. Additionally, both men are known for challenging global institutions. Trump has long questioned the relevance of NATO and the role of the United Nations, while Netanyahu has pushed back against what he sees as UN bias against Israel. Their renewed partnership could lead to further dismantling of multilateral frameworks in favor of bilateral, transactional relationships, where loyalty is rewarded and dissent is punished. On domestic fronts, both face intense opposition. Trump is entangled in legal cases ranging from election interference to classified document retention, while Netanyahu faces ongoing corruption trials. And yet, their popularity endures among loyal bases who see them as defenders of national identity, culture, and strength in a world that feels increasingly unmoored. To their admirers, they are warriors against globalism and the erosion of sovereignty. To their detractors, they are dangerous populists, steering democratic institutions toward authoritarianism. But beyond partisan views, the impact of their policies cannot be ignored. The Trump-Netanyahu alliance is not just about two leaders, it is about a worldview. One that favors security over compromise, borders over integration, unilateralism over consensus, and action over endless negotiation. If they return to full power together, the implications could be profound. The final death of the two-state solution, a redefined Middle East alliance structure, a new approach to Iran, and a realignment of America's global posture away from traditional allies and institutions. This would not merely be a continuation of past policy, it would be a revolutionary leap. The world, once shaped by Cold War binaries and post-war institutions, may soon find itself remade in the image of two men who believe history bends not through patience and diplomacy, but through force, conviction, and calculated disruption. As the clock ticks toward the next US election and the Middle East simmers with uncertainty, the Trump-Netanyahu axis looms large. Will it bring unprecedented peace through strength, or spark the very chaos it claims to prevent? One thing is certain: the world is watching, and history is holding its breath.